You are about to learn how ESPN's latest evaluation of the Commanders completely contradicts the main goal of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn this offseason. But here's the problem. The ranking could be completely wrong. You will discover how the Commanders fell from 3rd to 25th place in the under-25 talent ranking, and why this drop is misleading and does not reflect the reality of the roster that has been built. And there's more. You will understand how the Commanders have not one but two promising candidates to watch closely who can completely revolutionize the team, and neither of them will play a single game in 2026. And even more, Antonio Williams arrives at the Commanders camp with the number 2 spot wide open. And you will find out why this young receiver might be exactly what the Commanders need to complement Terry McLaurin. Stay with me until the end, because you will understand exactly how these 3 pieces of the puzzle can transform the Commanders from a disastrous team into a playoff contender. Hit like on the video, it's just one click, and it helps me a lot. The Commanders wanted a much younger and more athletic roster on both sides of the field. As a fan who follows every move, I know this was a clear priority. And they did a good job in that regard during the offseason. However, clearly, ESPN's latest ranking does not reflect this and is somewhat misleading. The Washington Commanders made it clear this offseason the priority was to have a younger, faster, and more athletic roster on both sides of the ball. According to most evaluations, considerably, they did a good job of achieving this goal through the draft and free agency. Therefore, it is a bit surprising to see ESPN's latest ranking placing the Commanders under 25 core at 25th among 32 NFL teams, especially after Washington finished 3rd in the same category just a year ago, clearly. The drop is significant, but requires some context. One of the main reasons for the drop is the fact that quarterback Jaden Daniels has surpassed the age limit for the under 25 category. Daniels turned 25 in December and no longer qualifies for the list, considerably, which immediately removes one of the best young players in the league from the equation. Even with last year's injuries, Daniels is still a top 10 quarterback and one of the top 5 when healthy. Losing him from the under-25 competition will seriously hurt the ranking of any team. Clearly, the under-25 roster of the Commanders is not empty. That said, the only 2 impact players Washington currently has under 25 years old are offensive tackle Josh Conerly Jr. and rookie linebacker Sonny Styles. Conerly, considerably, like most rookies, had his ups and downs in 2025. He shined at times and struggled at others, which is normal for a young offensive lineman adapting to the NFL. Styles is a different story, clearly. His draft history and physical attributes suggest he has the potential to be a key player from the start, but there is no guarantee he will meet the expectations of a first-round pick. It is likely he will, considerably, but that is the nature of this type of ranking. It needs to be based on what players have already proven, not on what they might become. The overall outlook still looks promising, clearly. This is where things get a bit more encouraging for Washington. Several key players who are slightly out of the 25-year age range can still have a big impact in 2026. Brandon Coleman considerably, Luke McCaffrey, Jordan Magee, Bill Merritt, and Leo Chenal are all capable of playing significant roles for the Commanders this season. Of these players, only Chenal has a high contract. All the others are still on clearly rookie contracts, which in itself is promising. The financial flexibility provided by having key players on cheap contracts gives Washington room to maneuver as the roster continues to take shape. Additionally, considerably, we have safety Nick Cross, who turns 25 on September 10th. Johnny Newton, Trey Amos, and Jalen Lane are all young players the Commanders are counting on to develop. Only time will tell if these investments will clearly pay off. Does the ranking really tell the whole story? The fact that the Commanders have explicitly wanted a younger, faster, and more athletic roster this preseason makes the 25th position in the ranking sting a bit more than it probably should. At the same time, considerably. It's hard to fully agree with the assessment. Washington's roster is younger and more athletic than it was a year ago. The ranking captures a limited snapshot of the roster clearly, specifically players under 25 years old, and penalizes the Commanders for Daniels exceeding the age limit. This leads me to believe that the ranking reflects more the current moment than the assessment of talent. The Commanders have many young, cost-controlled players who can develop and take on impact roles considerably. If they indeed accomplish this, it will determine Washington's position in the ranking by 2027. And now, get ready for the 2 promising candidates. You will find out how they can revolutionize the team. The Commanders are entering a crucial year that includes major changes in the coaches leading the offense and defense considerably. One source firmly believes in the potential of David Blau and Durante Jones. The Washington Commanders not only reshaped the roster during the preseason, but also made significant changes to the coaching staff clearly. Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Witt Jr. have left and have been replaced by newcomers David Blau and Durante Jones. Objectively, it's a bit risky for a team coming off a 5-12 season, but Dan Quinn needed to find a spark considerably. And he is obviously confident that these two can provide it. He is not the only one who believes in Blau and Jones. The senior journalist from The Athletic, clearly. Jordan Rodrigue recently published her list of candidates for breakout coach, and both are among those nominated for the Commanders. The interesting thing is that Rodrigue usually indicates one coach per team considerably, but she couldn't resist including the duo on the Commanders list. Blau and Jones make for a very interesting pair of coordinators, who are under a lot of pressure after a bad year for Washington, clearly. Both will be responsible for the plays, and both are in their first year as coordinators at the professional level. Blau was involved in the Rookie Offensive Player of the Year season for Jaden Daniels in 2024 as a quarterbacks coach assistant considerably, and he climbed the ranks to his current position. Meanwhile, Jones was a key assistant in the last years of the exceptional defenses led by Brian Flores in Minnesota. With an extensive resume in college football before that, clearly, David Blau and Durante Jones are candidates with a 100% chance of standing out for the Commanders' position. It's a good choice, as both teams have a lot to work with, both in offense and defense significantly. Obviously, Blau relies on Daniels. But the Commanders should also have an offensive line among the top 12 by 2026, and although there is a clear shortage of receivers beyond Terry McLaurin, the signing of free agent Chigoziem Okonkwo can easily compensate for this deficiency, becoming the second option in the passing game. The group of running backs is also quite solid significantly, although there isn't a true number one option. The quartet made up of Rashad White, Bill Merritt, Katrin Allen, and Jeremy McNichols has a high level of performance. The maximum potential may not be the greatest, clearly, but the Commanders shouldn't suffer from a lack of production from their running backs in 2026. Add to that a wildcard potential like the explosive Robert Henry Jr., and we will certainly be able to see the Commanders' ground attack transform completely significantly and become a very effective weapon. On defense, the Commanders have a frightening defensive line on paper, especially at the linebacker position clearly, where another strong quartet resides, made up of Sonny Styles, Leo Chenal, Frankie Louvu, and Jordan Magee. The potential of this group is huge, by the way, significantly. It could become the best group of linebackers in the NFL by the end of the year. All four, if utilized correctly, have the right traits and skills that complement each other and can result in decisive plays clearly. The secondary is a different story. Even after the addition of Rasul Douglas, we still don't know if Amik Robertson and Mike Sainristil will recover from the poor 2025 seasons significantly, how Trey Amos will perform after the injury, and who will be able to play consistently as a center fielder. But the defensive line can alleviate many concerns if it lives up to expectations clearly. In any case, the defensive roster is far from weak, and we cannot forget that Jones is a former pass coordinator. He has plenty of experience working in that department significantly, and that should help him elevate the players to a level where they aren't a problem like last year. If all this materializes, the Commanders will clearly come back. Without a doubt, playing competitive football. Whether that means they will return to the playoffs or not, we still don't know significantly, but at least we will know they have the right people to make that happen in the very near future. Showing up for training camp on July 24th, clearly, Antonio Williams begins his journey in the NFL with the chance to make a difference for the Commanders. Selected in the third round of the draft, Williams caught the attention of general manager Adam Peters with his speed and route running ability, standing at 6 feet tall significantly. He fits the profile of a traditional slot receiver, like Wes Welker, depending on his quickness and agility to shake defenders. Williams comes off a 2025 season in which he caught 55 passes on 72 attempts for 604 yards and 4 touchdowns clearly. But if you want to see what he is really capable of, go back to the 2024 season where he caught 75 passes on 100 attempts for 908 yards and 11 touchdowns. Playing throughout his 4 years at Clemson significantly, Williams accumulated 2,523 total scrimmage yards and 23 touchdowns. During a matchup against Duke in 2025, Williams made a 64-yard reception, almost half of which came after the catch. He logged a 4.41 second time in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine clearly, demonstrating all of his explosiveness. Antonio Williams inherits the undefined number 2 role in Washington, besides Terry McLaurin significantly. The options for pass reception in Washington have been scarce for years. After trading for Deebo Samuel before the 2025 season, Washington attempted to convert him into a number 2 receiver. However, clearly, with the injuries that affected the offense and the constant changes that disrupted the game plan, the plan never materialized, and Samuel remains a free agent a week before the start of training camp across the league. Thanks to his acceleration and versatility as a playmaker significantly, Williams will be able to fill the role that Samuel tried to fulfill. He received the ball directly during a game against Boston College and ran for 33 yards, seeing the blocks in front of him and anticipating his next steps clearly. His ability to run routes in the short and intermediate areas of the field is top-notch. The player's capacity to quickly move his body forward after the reception is rare. There is absolutely no hesitation from an experienced coach in whom one can fully trust in the most important moments significantly, despite missing some games due to injury. Williams was selected for a system with experience and consistency, as Jaden Daniels returns to the team fully recovered clearly. At the start of training camp, several other receivers will be competing for the second receiver position, but Williams brings the skill and youth necessary to complement McLaurin.